Yemeni resistance leader Abdul-Malik al-Houthi revealed Israel's plan to seize territory in Syria in a recent televised address. He described the developments as part of the so-called Greater Israel Project, aimed at expanding influence and occupying lands strategically important to the Jewish state. According to al-Houthi, the Israel leadership is pursuing a plan known as the David Corridor. This strategy involves seizing lands, including those under US and Kurdish control along the Euphrates River. He noted that Israel sees the current situation in Syria as an opportunity for its expansionist intentions. As the leader of the Yemeni Houthis emphasized, the IDF is today deliberately destroying military facilities in Syria, which play a key role in protecting against aggression from the Jewish state. At the same time, he criticized the new leadership of the SA for its inability to protect the country's strategic weapons and military facilities, emphasizing that such passivity makes them extremely vulnerable to Israeli attacks. Israel's destruction of Syria's defense capabilities is an act of criminal aggression, a gross violation of sovereignty, and an attack on the national security of an Arab country, said the leader of the Yemeni resistance. Finally, al-Houthi accused the US and its Western allies of supporting Israeli aggression, which they call an act of self-defense. Houthi said the chaos in Syria has enabled more Israeli land grabs amid the armed group's silence and inaction. Furthermore, he said the Palestinian cause is the foremost issue of the Muslim world and Israel poses a great threat to all people, particularly Arabs. He stressed that the new Syrian rulers have been ordered not to make any anti-Israel comments, stating that Muslims should defend Gaza, just as the Europeans are backing Ukraine. The Muslim Ummah is viewed by its enemies as a naive, stupid and ignorant community that can be easily deceived, Houthi said. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres called on Israel to halt its airstrikes on Syria, calling them violations of the country's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Syria's sovereignty, territorial unity and integrity must be fully restored, and all acts of aggression must come to an immediate end, Guterres told reporters. Since the government of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad abruptly fell earlier this month, Israel has carried out hundreds of airstrikes, including around the capital Damascus, that it says are aimed at destroying strategic weapons and military infrastructure. The Russian economy is facing mounting problems. Inflation is rising and interest rates are reaching record levels. Moreover, companies and even oligarchs are now increasingly vocal in their discontent. But instead of criticizing the Kremlin chief Putin, whom the business elite is afraid to openly accuse, all the arrows are aimed at the head of the central bank, Elvira Nabiullina. The Wall Street Journal publishes an article about the oligarchs' growing discontent. Russia's war economy, which had long supported consumer spending and corporate profits, is starting to falter. Rising inflation, a falling ruble and high interest rates are putting an unbearable strain on businesses. The central bank's rates are a challenge for economic development. I hope the cure won't be more harmful than the disease, said billionaire Alexei Mordashov, head of Severstal, in an interview with RBC. The leader of one of the Duma factions, Sergei Mironov, created a real scandal. He accused and sharply criticized Nabiullina for raising the key rate. Since July last year, you started to raise the discount rate. How much has inflation increased? Twice. Hey, Miss Nabiullina, are you sane or not? What kind of nonsense are you talking? He said. The central bank rate, set at 21%, could be raised even further tomorrow, which increases pressure on the economy. Companies are feeling the blow on all fronts. Inflation remains at 9%, which devalues the ruble and increases costs. MT's, the largest mobile operator, recorded a 90% drop in net profit in the third quarter due to high interest payments. Rosneft postpones modernization of oil refineries, citing unavailability of credit. More than 200 shopping centers are at risk of bankruptcy, and almost a third of freight carriers predict bankruptcy next year. Experts believe that discontent among the business elite is growing, but the oligarchs do not dare to criticize the head of the Kremlin, Putin. Elvira Nabiullina has become a convenient target for accusations, notes Alexandra Prokopenko, a former employee of the Central Bank of Russia. The oil and military-backed economy has proven resilient, but the model is unable to cope with the imbalances caused by the conflict. US and EU sanctions have undermined the stability of the ruble, and the labour market is suffering from labour shortages due to mobilization and migration. High interest rates and inflation are squeezing companies' margins, making long-term planning impossible. Financial problems at large companies risk leading to a chain reaction of bankruptcies, which will only worsen the economic situation. Russia's economic model is in serious trouble, and elite discontent is growing louder. But so far, criticism has focused solely on the central bank, while the real roots of the crisis, the conflict and sanctions, have gone unaddressed.